Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome to another video about the war on China. Mario, you are supposed to be horizontal. Guys, welcome back. Today, I'm joined once again by Mr. Mario Cavallo from
Oh,
Senior Fellow from CCG China.
is that
Okay,
is
Mario,
that
why don't
right?
you introduce yourself? That's better.
Oh, Fernando, my
Cool.
sincere apologies. Um, Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Great to be here with all of you. And as usual, Fernando and I have another topic to talk about that, um, I don't know, the safety and stability of the entire global planet and all of our lives depends on. Just a minor type thing. Um, so here we are to talk about it, and I'm looking forward to it very, very much. And we'll cover some other things along the way, I'm sure, Fernando, as we always do.
Yeah. Well, the main thing that we want to talk about today is red lines and the use of diplomacy and what diplomacy is supposed to be for. Diplomacy is supposed to uh, communicate the intentions from one country and the expectations of another country. And what is taking place right now with this situation of Nancy Pelosi telling the world that she is going to Taiwan. She was supposed to go to Taiwan a few months ago, but she got COVID. Uh, but this time around, she is determined to come to Taiwan. Um, Everybody in America is telling her not to come. From the Pentagon, from so many people say like this is not the smartest thing to do. You are really poking the bear because the red line is very clear. They don't want us doing country to state relations with Taiwan, and you going is going to be a red line. There's a lot of talk about what's taking place in terms of what China will do if this goes ahead, if this actually takes place. Um, Biden himself has said that this is not a good idea. I was watching yesterday the Minister of Foreign Affairs talking about they're not going to be giving us specifics of what as to what they are going to do, but there will be serious retaliation, and the responsibility of the consequences of those actions are on the United States. Um, but this video came together because we just saw one of the biggest opposers of Nancy Pelosi jumping in and saying, "Oh, me, Mike Pompeo, I am not wanted in China, but I am very welcome in Taiwan. I will go with you, um, Miss Pelosi." So it just clicks in your head. These people hate each other in America, but when it comes to attacking China and destabilizing China and causing conflict with China, they are hand in hand together, as you saw in the thumbnail. They feel absolutely no shame in cooperating when it comes to attacking China. And we seem to have lost Mario for a second, but I want to remind you guys to please like, comment, and share these videos because YouTube doesn't really like our content too much. As we wait for Mario to come here, I want you to remember who Nancy Pelosi is. And this is why it is so difficult to be diplomatic with the United States. Oh, Mario is here. Let's bring him in. Mario, lost you for a second. I was just telling our viewers that I want to show them who these people are, who the leadership of America is, and why they can't be trusted. Ukraine should not trust them, and Taiwan should not trust them. So let me bring this up 1 second. I want you to watch this.
Let's go.
So this is a very short clip. I'm going to show you several clips, but this is Nancy Pelosi saying, I don't know, could you hear it, Mario? If you guys
No,
in
I
the
didn't get
comment
all.
section,
I did. I was just going to tell you I didn't get audio on that.
okay. Um, Did you guys watch it? Did you get to hear it? If somebody could leave a comment in our stream, it will be very much appreciated, so we know whether the clip was actually played or not. That would be very much appreciated. If not, I can play it from another source. Anybody in the comment section could tell us? Leave a comment letting us know if it was played or not. Okay, so this is basically Nancy Pelosi during a town hall admitting that she was part of the intelligence head. Okay, there was no audio. Thank you, Mark. Let me then just play it from here in a second. But let me tell you what it is. Okay, here we go.
I knew there were no nuclear weapons in Iraq. It just wasn't there. They had to show us. They had to show the Gang of Four all the intelligence they had. The intelligence did not show that that was the case. So I knew it was a misrepresentation to the
You
public.
guys watching it?
We have amassed much intelligence indicating that Iraq is continuing to make these weapons. Eyewitness accounts. We have first-hand descriptions of biological weapons factories.
This is like the first. This is like the first-hand description. Can I say something?
Yep.
Yeah, we have first-hand descriptions. This is the basis of the Uyghur genocide of 3 million people. 50 relatives of Uyghur terrorists in prison who give their first-hand descriptions of my brother in prison in China is innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. And they're torturing him. Because you said so? Your brother's innocent? Really? Okay, if you say so. So they've got like 50, maybe they have 1,000 of these people. They say now they have 1,000 to 2,000 Uyghurs complaining about how poorly China treats them. You know what, Fernando? It might actually be 1,000 or 2,000. Okay, out of 12 million, right? I mean, these are people who are in prison for terrorism. You don't go to prison for no reason at all. And their family members, oh no, I'm innocent. Or my brother's innocent. My cousin is innocent. I haven't seen my mother in years. Yeah, well, okay, don't commit crimes, and you won't, and you won't go to jail, and then everything will be okay. Live a good, wholesome, virtuous life. Pursue virtue, not terrorism. And, do people get caught up in these things? Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. People get caught up in these things. But this is not unique to China. This is how life is all over the world. And that's not whataboutism, right? We're talking about not lying. Okay, I'll give you another example. Okay. And this actually is the one that makes me more livid than anything else. It has to do with our other double P of the day. This is Pelosi and Pompeo we're talking about. And Nancy just said, and we saw that there was no evidence. We know, I could see that there were misrepresentations there. That's what she said, which that's a lie. Folks, listen to me. Political doublespeak. When a politician says, I noticed that there were misrepresentations there. That's a politician saying, I noticed that they're lying. Okay, so Pelosi noticed that they were lying, and they went ahead and started a war and killed 500,000 innocent Iraqi, innocent women and children, families. They destroyed a country based on lies. Pelosi knew that. Biden, our current president, knew that. And then Pompeo, going back around to my favorite, there's on the State Department website. These are official releases by the State Department, state.gov. You can go read them. China continues, not China is, China continues to violently and brutally, what is China violently and brutally doing? No. China's not doing. China is continuing, meaning it's been doing this for a long time. That's the wording that they use, right? China continues to violently and brutally oppress people of all, not even some, all faiths and religions. That is the phrase in a 2021 State Department release by Mike Pompeo's, or whatever the year was when he was the last year of when he was still
2021.
Secretary of State. But it doesn't matter, Fernando. It doesn't matter, friends, because when they switched it over to Blinken, it just continues. Nothing. When it was Hillary Clinton, it was the same. Okay, what we've learned to a degree of being painful, the world has now come to understand that these people, the United States government, these leaders of the United States government, are the most violent and brutal of all. They are the
Mario,
worst liars of all. That's who
I
they are.
always I always call them the murderous, terrorist, hegemonic American regime. They lie to get resources from other countries for no
And
reason.
kill.
You just heard
And kill.
Nancy Pelosi tell you that there were no weapons of mass destruction, but still they went in there. They went to war and killed millions of people in Iraq and Afghanistan without any reason. But let's not forget that the Queen of England has just decided to knight Tony Blair. Tony Blair, who,
It's
together
a
with
war criminal.
America, let these are war criminals. Nancy Pelosi should be tried as a war criminal because what she said in that town hall to Jack Tapper, she knew that there were no weapons of
Right.
mass destruction, but she did
I
not
now
stop
admit.
it.
Right. I admit we are now post event admitting that we murdered 500,000 people. We knew, we're admitting. I knew there were misrepresentations. We went ahead anyway. That's what
Yeah,
she said. We're
there's
admitting post war that we murdered 500,000 people.
there's another important issue, and this has to be with Shinzo Abe's assassination just a fortnight ago. A lot of people were saying like, "Oh, the Chinese people are celebrating that he was assassinated." But let's not forget that the Japanese had the massacre. They killed thousands, hundreds of thousands of Chinese people. And the worst part is that they haven't really apologized. Shinzo Abe was actually seen many times visiting this shrine where they celebrated these murderers, these mass murderers, these
The worst,
criminals.
the
Exactly.
worst,
So,
the worst of Fernando, the worst of the mass murderers, the worst
and
of the genociders in Japan, the worst of the Japanese genociders in Nanjing were the 731 unit. Okay.
mhm,
Abe Shinzo took a photograph sitting
on a
in the
plane.
cockpit of a 731 unit plane with a smile on his face and his thumb up, Da Muza, which is a
Mm.
very, very positive sign all around China. People in photographs, they use dot, but friends teach you a little bit of Chinese. This is your thumb. It's called your muzi, right? Your da muzi, right? So when you do one
Mhm.
of these in a photo in China, it's a happy moment. It's hi everybody. It's like this. Hey, yeah, peace. Da muzi. And he did one of those sitting in the cockpit of the 731 unit plane, the Japanese who slaughtered the Chinese in the war in Nanjing. Okay, so this is like Hitler. This is like no one. The guy dies. You think you feel bad. You go, oh, he died. Oh, that's good. He was a monster. I mean, it's
So,
understandable.
so some Chinese were happy that he died because they had wounds that were pour salt on top of them, wounds
Yeah,
that were not healed. Well,
yeah.
a lot of people got a lot of flack for that. Oh, look at the Japanese. Look at the Chinese. They're celebrating that this happened. I just want to show you another tiny little clip. And remember, this is on the back of Nancy Pelosi accepting that the war in Iraq was illegal, was a crime. Watch this out. If there's no sound for any reason, I'll let you know. I'm sure you guys know this video. Let me play it for you.
No sound, Fernando.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What did she say? You probably saw that interview with Barbara Walters. We came, we saw, he died. We murdered, we assassinated the leader of a country who did not like us. We did not like. We murdered and assassinated on false pretenses, sorry, the leader of a country. And she's laughing and giggling before 350 million Americans. And you're going to give me that a few Chinese people celebrating that the person who celebrated the murdering of their own people cannot express the relief because this person passed, because this person died, was assassinated? I mean, Hillary Clinton is here giggling and laughing at the fact that they killed Saddam Hussein, that they killed a person that has nothing to do with 9/11, a person who they knew had no weapons of mass
Oh, come on,
destruction.
Fernando. He was a bad. Oh, he was a bad guy anyway. Even if he
It's
didn't do that, he was a bad guy anyway. It's like this is the way these people rationalize and twist what they have to say. Oh, he was a bad guy anyway. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. And I wonder, you got to wonder based on the pattern whether or not to them knocking out Xi is just it's the right thing. It's Jesus told me to.
mm,
We're chosen by God. We need to eliminate Xi. He's doing too good a job. We have to eliminate him. That's really the solution. They're gonna assassinate Xi. I think. I mean,
you
this is what they do. This is what they. I don't want to say this. It's what they do. We're not speculating. They are doing these things. This is what they've done. This is what they do. There's a historical track record here. There's apodictic knowledge here. This is what they do. Now, what are they doing? Okay. They are treating with utter disrespect, getting on to the point of Taiwan. They are treating the country of China with utter and total disrespect and imperialist hubris. That's what they're doing. Okay, they're saying, we know you feel this way, and we are going to intentionally provoke you. This is how, I mean, this is incredible. This is like someone walking up to you on the street, and you already know you have a conflict and a problem with them, so you avoid them. You avoid trouble, right? Well, anybody, folks, do you have this kind of person in your life where you kind of don't get along that well, so you kind of intentionally avoid them to keep peace, right?
mm,
And then that person intentionally walks up into you and gets in your face and spits in your face to provoke you, and you're like, dude, I don't want any trouble. That's what the United States is doing when they send Pelosi to Taiwan. Pompeo went, what was it, Fernando, 2-3 months ago as a
yeah,
civilian, and he said, I
at a
quote,
medal.
I think it's time that we recognize Taiwan's independence. Who the hell is this guy? Who the hell are you to call for the overthrowing of a government? And the government is, which is what he was doing, and the government is the most important economic engine of planet Earth that hasn't started a war or attacked any country in a century. So the
Mm,
monster that you're trying to tell us is the monster hasn't attacked anybody in a century. They say, oh, wait a minute, 40 years ago, people used 40 years, not a century. They said, oh, yeah, they did. They were in the Vietnam War. They didn't start the Vietnam War. They jumped in. So, yes, they were involved in the Vietnam War. Okay. China didn't start the Vietnam War. So, yes, they were involved in that military war. They didn't start it. They didn't attack a country to start a war. They haven't, they don't, and they won't. Which brings me to my next point. Okay. And you mark my words, because Fernando, and I'll go ahead and be arrogant right here. I haven't been wrong about China for 23 years, and I'm not going to be. I don't say things that I know aren't really certain to be true, okay? I'm very careful about what I say. There is no way in hell China is going to fire the first military armament. It isn't going to happen. They will never, ever fire upon Taiwan. Okay. They won't do it. Okay. Now, I said it.
You've all seen that
I've
video that
said it
she
before.
made during she made a very important speech during the 100-year anniversary of the CPC. He actually mentioned there very clearly, we are
Right.
looking for peaceful reunification
Right.
with our
We will
brothers and
never.
sisters of Taiwan in due time. If you
Right.
do not believe from the mouth of Xi Jinping and you choose to believe the mouth of a criminal, of a war criminal like Nancy Pelosi, or a professional liar like this man right here. I'm sure you've all seen this video as well.
Yeah. 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 This is the State Department of the United States.
This is what they do all the time. They lie, they cheat, right? You
All the
had this
time.
you had this other gentleman, and let me just fast forward 1 second, telling you that this is exactly what they do. Again, probably no sound, but I'll tell you what he says.
What happened with your sound thing?
So that's basically McFall, who used to be the former ambassador of America to Russia, and he's asked on the stage about the Ukraine situation. So are you saying that our diplomats lie? And he just goes, yes, of course we do.
Yes, of
That's
course we
what
do.
we do. That's the way that the world works. That's not the way the world works. That's the way America works. That's the way this murderous, terrorist, hegemonic regime called America works. And I would like everybody to start calling America a regime, a hegemonist, a murderous terrorist hegemonic regime, because that's what they are. And I'm showing you proof here in very short videos. A very simple blogger, a very simple YouTuber like myself can show you evidence that these people are not to be trusted. What the heck are they doing going to Taiwan and pushing for the independence of Taiwan? Who is going to stop them? When are we going to stop them? And how are they going to be stopped? That has always been my question. I mean, let's talk about the consequences for a second. Just for a second. If Pelosi goes into Taiwan with or without Pompeo, it doesn't matter. Pompeo is just trying to throw himself into the conversation. What if the PLA Air Force decides to land along Pelosi's airplane? You come into our country, we go into our country. You are breaking
Right.
the agreement, we also break an agreement of not
No,
doing
no, no.
this. Mario.
You got the right idea. You've got the right idea. China will respond with a clear, passive message. Okay. So again, China will but it will be crystal clear. China will respond along the lines of what you just said. Okay. If you enter our province's airspace, breaking the agreement, we will send our planes to escort you out. Right. Hello. Hi.
And what
You
what
know, th- th-
happens?
right. And we are here. Hello. Hi, Miss Pelosi. Welcome to our airspace. We're here to prevent you from landing because you have violated a sovereign agreement. This would be like, I want to ask you if China can fly a military plane and land it with permission on Puerto Rico.
Mm,
Or even in a state. It doesn't actually have to be Puerto Rico. We're using Puerto Rico as the example, of course, because it's not exactly a state, but it's part of the United States, right? So what if China wanted to fly a plane, and it was a military plane, to meet with the separatist politicians who want to, and they have a bill ready to go. They want to separate Texas from the United States. It's a done deal. They got the whole thing laid out. They want to call for a vote on it and everything else. So if China said, Xi sent Wang Yi, Representative Jordan here in Texas. Hi, I don't know his name. I'm the representative of Texas, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You can swear on your best mama's barbecue. It's gonna happen. We're gonna separate from them there, Washington, D.C. And you know what? Next week, Wang Yi, the guy from China, powerful guy, he coming to have some barbecue with us. He gonna land, and we're gonna talk about it. We got their support. We got the support of the China and Xi Jinping guy. What's his name? And ladies and gentlemen, Texas gonna rise up to star. We're gonna rise up and bring in a plane next week. China gonna land in our backyard and have some barbecue with us.
And they're
Okay?
gonna sell
So
us some
now,
weapons. They're gonna sell us some missiles. They're gonna
right?
send us
Oh
some
yeah, yeah. Oh,
weaponry. Yeah.
and we're gonna. Thank you, Fernando. And we're gonna. They're bringing the catalog. They're bringing the catalog. It's the
What might you
catalog
buy?
of the Chinese 5 spice seasonings. We're gonna try to do some newfangled kind of barbecue, and they're gonna bring us the weapons. If we need to, we're gonna barbecue Washington.
And if we
Right?
want,
I
we can
mean,
build a wall because they have experience in building walls so that people from Washington
this
cannot
is
come into our
incredible. This
Texas.
is so. What would the United? So if China said, okay, we're going to have a meeting with the separatist politicians who are in Texas, we're going to go meet with them. So we're going to fly a plane into United States airspace. Would the airport give them permission to land? No. I mean, this is what is obvious, right? So these things are obvious. So this is one scenario where China would fly in and say, "Hi, look, we get that you're here, but we're reminding you, no, you can't land
Cannot
here
come
because
in.
this is you can't come in, right? So we're here to escort you out. You're not going to be you're not going to be allowed to land." Now that's one scenario. The other scenario that comes to my mind is, I think, and now, Fernando, we got an interesting debate to have here. I'd love to know what some of the people who are watching think,
Yeah,
because
leave us a comment.
yeah, how is China going to respond? And my answer is, everybody's playing this game of cat and mouse now. Who's in worse shape financially? And there's a guy in Twitter who wrote something up. I don't even remember who it is, but I replied to him and said, he said something about the new approach, which will create the rethinking needed regarding the Taiwan question, blah, 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 blah. And I read that and I said to myself, this guy's in a fantasy land. Okay. This guy's in a fantasy land. And this is what I want to tell you. Okay. Because he wrote this article, the new approach requiring the rethinking of the new shift. And very good, intellectually great stuff, but it was all crap because it's based on his fantasy that there is any possibility whatsoever of a new approach or of rethinking or of a shift in strategy. And I'm here to remind everybody that there is, under no circumstances whatsoever, any new approach, any rethinking, any shift in thinking whatsoever regarding Taiwan possible as far as Beijing is concerned. None.
I
Zero. They will never budge from their position. Period. And on that basis, we only have one question to ask. And that is, when somebody puts the hammer down first, which will be the Americans, they'll do something provocative. When China responds, they'll, one, possibly respond by what we already said militarily, passively, by sending in escort fighters and saying, sorry, we're not giving you permission to land here. This is part of our territory, and we're not giving you permission to land here. Sorry, have a nice day. Hi, Nancy. How you doing? Turn around. Okay, so that's number one. Number two will be the economic response. And this is where I want to say very, very clearly, I don't know if I'm right on this. On this, I'll admit I'm saying an opinion because I usually don't say opinion, as you know, Fernando. What I want to say usually, if it's backed by something I know is evidently factually certain, it's apodictic, then I will say it. Okay. This, of course, we don't know. No one knows, not even me. Okay. So I'm going to say it. There's the game of cat and mouse as to who can survive the separation, the stop of globalism better. Now, China has benefited from globalism much more than the United States. The United States middle class got decimated by what the corporate and political leaders of the United States have done to the United States, which is that's what they did to, China's not to blame. The corporate leaders and the politicians are to blame for the state of affairs in the United States. Blame your own freaking leaders. Okay. They're the ones who made all these decisions, ruining the United States of America. Okay. So China's benefited from globalism, and that's true. However, I know this society so well, and the economy of this society so well, that no matter what happens, okay, if China, and China's already tested it, they've already shut their border, haven't they, Fernando? The border is shut right now. Is China melting down, Fernando?
No.
No. So China's border is already shut to the world in a huge way. Okay, billions up to into trillions of commerce isn't happening in international relations with the border being shut in a number of ways. Tourism, for example. Chinese people haven't left this country. Okay, how many millions? Chinese was the number one tourist in the world, the highest spending tourist in the world. They're not going anywhere. They haven't been for 2 to 3 years. Okay. We just went on our first trip to Chongqing two weeks ago, right? No, people aren't traveling. Okay. So what I'm saying is, I'm sorry, let me get to the point. I ramble a little bit. No country is better suited to handle a confrontation and survive it economically and societally in terms of stability and getting through it than China. Okay. And you read the arguments that if we have further economic separation, the United States will and Europe will survive, and China is the one that can least afford a separation, an economic separation. Okay. And every time I hear that argument, I just want to raise up my hand and say, teacher,
no,
I'm sorry, but the opposite of what you just said is true. I live here, and believe me, you're wrong, teacher. And why do you say that, little Mr. Mario? Well, never mind, teacher, because no matter what I say, you're just not going to believe me. But believe me, what you're saying is completely wrong, sir.
Yeah,
okay?
Whatever you try to do to disconnect China from the world, like the Xinjiang Labor Force Act that deemed that every single product made in Xinjiang is made with forced labor, therefore is banned to enter the United States. How does China respond? Is 1.4 billion people, they all go on holiday in summer. Well, not all, but you should see the lines on the road and the airports. Everybody has flocked to Xinjiang and Tibet for their holidays, and they're spending millions and millions of renminbi, the same as in dollars, in tourism inside the country, purchasing and buying those things that Americans do not want to buy, and they don't want to let other countries buy. And the worst thing that is happening, and listen to us for a few seconds, those people are posting videos of normal life in Xinjiang. Those videos are showing evidence that nothing of what is alleged by these liars like Pelosi, like Pompeo, who promised before he left, oh, we have mountains of evidence of what is taking place in Xinjiang. These people are posting all these social media videos, not the dancing Uyghurs that you see sometimes in state media. No, just the regular life, the regular experience of being a tourist in Xinjiang by the millions every day, every hour on social media in
Fernando,
China. If you got to see but a portion of it, you'd be like, I guess we've been duped, Mario.
Fernando, I was in Chongqing 2 weeks ago, and uh, it was my first city in China in 1999, Chongqing and Chengdu, which was an amazing thing. And it's, by the way, the most, other than Mexico City, I think it's Chongqing and Mexico City are regarded as the two most populous cities in the world, the largest city in the world. And Chongqing is so big. Imagine it's like San Francisco, but it's like, I think, 3 times bigger than San Francisco. And it's like a San Francisco. It's built into the hilly mountains, which makes it a very cool, dynamic, amazing place. And by the way, I know you're going to get there soon yourself. Um,
Yep.
it's an amazing, amazing city. And I've always known that. And I'm pretty savvy and on the pulse of what's happening in China. And I arrived there and learned things I didn't know. The new international land sea corridor, and when I say this, hats off to Chongqing for hosting me. You people were so amazing. Your team.
Oh, we seem to have lost Mario for a second, but he was giving you an experience that he had in Chongqing and these very important international relations that are nurtured and developed by the government in all these different areas. I was just in a region. I cannot talk too much about this project because it will be coming out on state media in October. But I was in a border region between Korea and Russia and China. And what I saw was amazing. The amount of work that they do to develop this very local region. And we talked to a leader there who told us something very interesting. He said, the decisions that are made don't only affect us. We're a border city. They're international matters. That stayed in my head, and you'll see a lot more of that particular project. Well, Mario, you were telling us about Chongqing. Sorry. Can't hear you, Mario. I don't know if I can, Mario, I cannot hear you. Let me unmute you one more time. Can you try again? No, cannot hear you. No, cannot hear you. Let me take these off to see if that's going to affect.
Better? Dude, something's happening with the audio. So sorry. I can't hear you now. Nope. Now I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Now I can't hear you. Now, this is funny. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you're listening to and watching live stream. Mario and Fernando dealing with audio difficulties.
You're
We'll be
just
right.
watching them.
We're all good. Are we good? I'm back. You're back.
Yes, we're good. Yes,
All
we're good.
right. We did it. We solved it. You know why? Because the audience was sitting there going, sending good vibes to Fernando and Mario to fix the technical difficulties. Yes. Thank you, folks. We're back. So, Chongqing, Chongqing arranged my itinerary because you're there. Look, what is the purpose of Chongqing? They're part of Chongqing News Media. They do a fantastic job. And what's the purpose? What's the point? To share and promote Chongqing, obviously. I mean, that's what you do, right? And so, fantastic. And I'm looking at the list of places that I'm going to go. And I'm going, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm going to get bored. because it's like a business place, like so some business park, and I thought, oh, this is going to be boring, but they want me to go there, so I'll go there, and I was completely wrong. Right, I was completely wrong. I arrive at this place, the logistics center. Okay, come on, Fernando. You go on a holiday in Chongqing. You want to go visit a logistics center? This doesn't sound sexy, right? So I arrive at the. Come on, right? I'm there. So I arrive at the new Land Sea International Corridor Logistics and Operations Center. Okay, fine. Next thing I know, I'm shooting a video, and I'm shooting a video with the background behind me. It's a giant computer screen, and on the side is two more screens. And do you know what I was standing in front of? Right? If you didn't see that video yet, it's somewhere in the feeds. Right? I'm standing there. Okay. They have built the Belt and Road Initiative, starting from Chongqing downward to I can't remember the name of the port, downward along the river to the port, but by land and rail in all the way into Europe, into Duisburg, Germany. Okay, triple rail gauge interchange where you have to change the rail. The rail changes the gauge of the rail. So you go through Xinjiang, China, up into Russia, and that's why the United States attacked Xinjiang, because it's a key along the BRI. They want to it's like literally like bombing a bridge. There's like bombing the bridge to stop the competitor from being able to do business. So they don't physically bomb the bridge with B-16 bombers or whatever the hell it is. Okay, they do this kind of economic sanctions, and they lie about genocide and forced labor and all this crap. So they're trying to block the rail through. They're trying to block business through Xinjiang because it leads to the Russia. So the train. By the way, when the end of the story is going to blow your mind. So the train goes through to Russia, and then they have a rail thing that takes the car, lifts the car, and moves it over to the other rail. Okay, because the rail gauge is a different size, right? Mm-hmm. And then now the train is going from Russia into Europe, all the way across into Europe, and then they get to some European border. I can't remember where. Is it Duisburg? No, Duisburg is the end. Okay, and then they do it again, and they switch the car. They pick it up, right? They pick the car up, move it over to the rail, drop it back down, and the train goes all the way from Chongqing along this new international land-sea corridor. Okay, in this case, it's the land and rail into Europe, into Duisburg, Germany. I also know, because I just did a research report on Hungary and Serbia and other Eastern European and Central European countries in the relationship and they're building relationship with China. And there's the Serbia-Hungary rail, which leads back down to what? To the Piraeus port, the Piraeus, which is the Greek port, the largest European port, which is now 51% managed, owned, and operated by the Chinese. Does Europe need? So now I want to ask and get to the end here. Does Europe need this? The European economy is melting down, ladies and gentlemen. They need all the help they can get. And what help are they getting from the BRI, from the Belt and Road Initiative leading into Europe that I just described to you? Well, here's the help that they're getting. 5 years ago, 1,700 trains choo-chooed along that rail. Okay. Mm-hmm. 1,700 trains, and that was 5 years ago. Do you know how many trains it was this past year? 15,000. 15,000. The rail time has expanded by a factor of like 9 in just 5 years. And the amount of goods has expanded from something like, I can't remember because it's not in front of me and I don't want to touch my phone because I don't want to get knocked out of the stream again. 1.7 billion revenue up to something like 14 billion in revenue. Now, this is goods along a rail that are being transported in and out of Europe in China-European relations. Why do you think Germany is in this situation with China? They're China's #1 trading partner, European trading partner. Do you think they can afford to drop China? Who has been providing the world with all of its medical products? Who? Do you think they can afford to drop China? Now, if the US succeeds in provoking and provoking and provoking, okay, #1, they might sacrifice the Taiwanese people the way for the sake of a war, in the same way that they've sacrificed the Ukrainian people, because the Ukrainian people are literally pawns on the table of the United States military, being sacrificed like they're worth nothing for a prolonged war. The Ukrainian people are the losers in this, the Ukrainian citizens. And people are trying to draw a parallel to Taiwan. Will never happen. And here's why I'm going to tell you why it won't ever happen. China won't allow it to happen. China won't allow its own Taiwanese Chinese people to be sacrificed the way the United States sacrificed the Ukrainian citizens, because Xi Jinping and the mainland Chinese Communist Party of China regards the majority of Taiwanese as their own citizens, their own family. There's no argument between them. Okay, Taiwanese Chinese are regarded as Chinese. Now, there's a small faction, the DPP, I think it's called. There's a small faction, and maybe 30% of the population who are hardline that really, don't care about China at all. Xi Jinping doesn't care about any of those people. Xi Jinping will protect the Taiwanese citizens. That's why, from what the United States has caused the Ukrainian citizens to suffer and sacrifice. For what? For Lockheed Martin to be able to make money selling weapons to the Ukraine to the tune of $50 billion.
I saw a very
China's
interesting
that
report.
stupid?
I saw a very interesting report on the budget of weapons sales or the budget that has been awarded to Ukraine. And interestingly there, that it doesn't really say what that money, that money is not going to be, it doesn't really say what the money is going to be used for. It just said that this money has been awarded for the fight in Ukraine. It doesn't say who's going to get it, but who do you think it is? I mean, this is why Assange is in prison, because he told us what the government was doing, laundering money from the taxpayers, many of you watching us who work very hard, sometimes 2, 3 jobs to put food on the
military
table and route those taxpayer money into the military industrial complex and give it to all those CEOs. Yeah, sorry, sir. What did I offend you with my truth?
You want to talk about laundering the money through Ukraine, Fernando? You're so upset about that? $50 billion being sent to Ukraine for weapons? Well, how much of that money is going to bleed back out into the hands of private rich guys, okay? But that's nothing compared to what they did in Afghanistan, okay? $50 billion over the course of 10 plus years in Afghanistan. What did they do? They set up a country. They set up an economy. They intentionally set it up. They used the military to set up a country within a country. And they funneled $1 trillion. The Afghanistan war cost the American people $1 trillion just for Afghanistan, this tiny little place over there. And all that money went to these war manufacturers and private defense contractors. Fernando, what is it when I'm a private defense contractor? You send me, you give me a game, Mario, I got a gig for you. What do? I play piano. Yeah? Oh, we need that in Afghanistan, Mario. Listen, I'm going to send you to Afghanistan to play the piano. $1 million a year. Good deal? Great deal. Listen, Mario, you play the piano in Afghanistan for the next 10 years, $1 million a year. You keep $500,000. The other $500,000, don't worry about it. We're going to be, distributing it off to other people. I don't care what you do with it. You're giving me $500,000. I'm going to play the piano for $500,000. I don't care what you do. And that's what they do. That's what it is. Okay. Now, they can't pull any of this shit with Taiwan. They can't do it. They can't get away with anything with Taiwan. They are infuriated by China because China has given in and kowtowed zero to their demands on all this imperialist crap. China is standing separate. I wrote this article 3 years ago. It's still not popular. I still don't know why. Parallel tolerance. Two worlds, one led by China, one led by America, going down the road in parallel, separate from one another. This is exactly what's happening on planet Earth. China never gave in and never will give in. And now finally circling all the way back around to this original point, if the United States does finally provoke it so severely that China even further slams its borders shut like it did in the past, okay, who will survive it all better? China. End of discussion. And they think they're going to survive it better. China, I believe the other thing China will do if Pelosi goes, besides what we said, the military escort, the economic thing, they've already been dropping their banking reserves of US dollars, which has fallen below 1 trillion for the first time in a decade. And if Pelosi visits, I think what they will do is they will quietly, they won't announce it big. They will quietly, because by the way, I know Chinese mentality. They're incredibly good at this. If you screw with the Chinese, they will quietly ruin you in any way they can, and you'll never know it's them. They are masters of passive-aggressive strategy. I know this. I married a Chinese, okay? Right? This is what they do. They hurt you passively, right? So, honey, that was a joke. You are my everything. So this is the reality. Fernando, I think you know I'm right. Chinese are masters at passive aggressive, okay?
Yes.
And they will quietly ruin you, and you'll never even know it's happening. Behind the scenes, they will quietly sabotage you. So they will quietly drain off, and then the news will pick up on it. Oh, China's U.S. reserves have plunged.
Why?
250 billion over the last 60 days. Is that what they responded to Miss Pelosi's visit to Taiwan? Just maybe, sort of, kind of? But they won't announce it. They'll quietly bleed away. They'll quietly shut down the export. Oh, Australia? Oh, what? What, Australia? You want to talk shit about us?
Oh, so sorry.
Well, excuse me. We got 800,000 cases of our Australian wine is stuck where? In which customs place that China won't release it? What? What? Oh, I guess we shouldn't have talked shit about them. Right. I mean, this is what China will do. They will, and by the way, this is legitimate. Okay, this is legitimate. I want to make this very, very clear to everyone. Okay, if you falsely accused me of being a baby killer, if you falsely accused me of being a serial baby killer, what kind of a relationship would I have with you going forward? If after you falsely accused me of being a serial baby killer or a genocider of our minorities whom we protect, okay, we actually have I actually have preferential policies, free healthcare, free education. We ensure the teaching of the minority language in schools, and we have a library of minority language books. Kissinger is available in the Uyghur language, thanks to Daniel Dumbrell. He reminded us all of that when he went to visit. He found a book by Kissinger in Uyghur language in the library.
Translated, yeah.
Translated into Uyghur, okay? So we actually support the Uyghurs. We have given them a better life. Their population has grown by 20%. This is what I've done. And you call me, right, but you call me but you're telling the world that I'm genociding Uyghurs. Are you out of your mind? So and then I say to you, hi, wait a minute. You just accused me of being a serial baby killer. This is the worst thing you could say. You called me Hitler. You called me a genocider when in fact we support these people. It's the opposite of what's true. And now I'm telling you, you need to stop. You need to stop lying about me. Hello, this is not happening. What you're saying is not true. Okay, and you still do it. So how the hell do you think I'm going to treat you, Fernando, if you continue calling me a genocider and telling the entire world you're trying to ruin my reputation, you're trying to ruin my life, you're ruining my reputation across the entire world. People believe it. You're the source of the lie. How much do you think I'm going to treat you? And then you send goods to my customs uh, uh, port, and I say, hey, Fernando, stop calling me a serial killer. No? Okay, I'm not doing business with you anymore. I mean,
Leave the
what is so complicated about that? This is the Chinese response. Is the Chinese response military? No. Have they attacked anyone? No.
no.
They just are like, okay, you want to play this game? Look, you want to have a bad relationship with me? I want to do less business with you. So this becomes the calculated game of cat and mouse. Okay. And China's quietly letting it all be. Their tolerance of this shit boggles my
I,
mind.
I
It
made a
would speak.
video. I made a video earlier
Yeah.
when I was in Qingdao with my little camera, asking how do you deal with a bad customer? How do you handle a bad
Right.
customer? A
Oh,
customer that
yeah.
is mouthing your business, that is throwing wrenches, that is vandalizing your shop, that is telling other people don't buy there. Those people are horrible. They're like, but they are your best customer. They are your number one customer in terms of volume. How do you handle that customer? And
Brilliant.
it
Fernando, that's brilliant.
apparently is what they're doing right now. You know, like what? They're preparing to let go of that customer. If you're a business owner, if you've had a business before, particularly in the service industry, you know how bad customers are. And at one point, you really need to ask yourself, would I be better off without this customer? Sometimes the answer is yes. I myself have done it. And I think that what you're telling us and what you're expressing right now is that China's reaction to Pelosi's visit, and God bless if Pompeo joins her, is going to be to move the rug from under the feet financially and to
Correct.
accelerate a
Absolutely.
situation that is really
Absolutely.
escalating at a really fast rate. I just want to remind
Absolutely.
people of one thing. Our channels don't get a lot of traction. YouTube doesn't really like,
We get
YouTube
buried.
doesn't, yeah, or our Twitter accounts. They don't like our content. Actually right now I'm broadcasting to Twitter as well. So it would really help us if you like and if you share this content on Twitter, on YouTube, whatever, like, comment, because it gets the word out there. And it's getting harder and harder for these people, the
Yeah.
American elites and the American leaders, to
Yeah.
to control the narrative. We, small YouTubers, smart people with a lot of experience in China, are able to show you that they lie. They lie to the point of being criminal, like Nancy Pelosi. They lie to the point of being proud of it, like Mike Pompeo. And they lie
Yeah.
again and again to the point of murdering leaders in other countries, like you just saw Hillary Clinton. We saw he died. We saw the point of how pointless it is to address diplomatically with the United States when you have the former ambassador to Russia, McFaul, say, yeah, we lie, of course, that's what we do, we lie. How do you engage with another party that is so dishonest and that is so proud and publicly displays the outrageous behavior that they practice day in and day out worldwide? It's not just China, it's every single country. And the creme de la creme, the cherry on top, what we heard John Bolton say just a few days ago. Yeah, I've arranged for some coups around the world. Yeah, we've arranged for some leaders to be removed. Anybody rings a bell about what took place in Sri Lanka not so long ago? Haiti, all this. Well, there you go. That's the leadership. That's the diplomatic forces. That's the hegemonic uh, terrorist and murderous regime of America. And I know that this hurts you as an American, Mario, but
It hurts me. I'm broken. I'm broken by
how
this. I
long?
am.
How long? How long are we going to be led by these people? Liars, liars, criminally, at that point, criminally liars.
Fernando.
And here we are,
Yeah.
Mario.
Well, the first time they did it was Korea, and
Yep.
nothing's changed. I mean, I didn't understand this. There's a certain person, I won't mention his name because I don't he doesn't know what. There's a certain person who's so knowledgeable. I mean, you want to talk about who is a China expert? This guy is so good, and he's a professor at a certain major, super respected international university. Um, and he actually is so fluent in Chinese that he translates ancient texts. That's how fluent. That's how good this guy is, right? And
Mm,
he wrote something I noticed one time. He wrote the travesty of what America began with the Korean War set the tone for this last 70 years. And when I read that, I didn't know, because at the time I had not yet been asked to play MacArthur in Crossing the Yalu River, which was, for folks who don't know, I was asked to play General MacArthur in Crossing the Yalu River, which was China's #1 CCTV primetime um, TV series about the Korean War, which, from the Chinese point of view, was the war which the Chinese won against U.S. aggression on the Korean Peninsula. So, and that's the accurate description of the war. U.S. aggression on the Korean Peninsula post World War II. They had no business being there. Truman
mm,
privately contacted the UN without congressional approval. It was an illegal war. They put MacArthur in charge of it. MacArthur wanted to, quote, destroy the Chinese once and for all. And I know that because it was a line in the movie and it was my line. Okay. So I did the research. And up till then, I didn't realize what this gentleman had said, that it was the Korean War post World War II that was set up the travesty of what is now this imperialist, violent, horrifying 70 years under the United States, where the entire world has been under the military of the United States, going around the world, massacring all of these people in the not, but saying that it's in the name of democracy, freedom, and justice, when it hasn't been at all in the name of democracy, freedom, and justice. It has been very much, as even people like Harvard's Jeffrey Sachs readily acknowledge, and that is it's just been about power and control and stealing everybody's shit all over the planet. That's what the United States is and has been doing. And it's horrifying. It's horrifying. Saying so doesn't make me anti-American. Saying so makes me a sad American.
and
And
showing
that's the
you
realities.
and showing you the videos that we just showed you with Nancy Pelosi, John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, all those things that we showed you today doesn't make me an anti-American. What I am
Yeah.
against is the murderous, terrorist, hegemonic regime that
Yep.
is America.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the latest numbers, and with this we could finish our video. The latest polls show that 1/3 of Americans, this is by The Hill, are considering taking arms against their government. Think about this for a second. Think about the reason for the Second Amendment being in the Constitution. The Second Amendment is in the Constitution because the Americans never really trusted their government. They
In the
wanted to
first
have
place.
that ace up the sleeve. That's what the
But
Second
it's you.
Amendment is. We don't trust this government
Pointless.
based on the supposed ending of slavery
It's
or the
pointless.
supposing separating from the British. That's why the Second Amendment is there, and that's why, well, another way of pulling the rug from under the feet if is America collapses its society, and we're seeing a lot of signs of that. But friends, we are coming to the end of this show. Thank you so very much for watching with us, all 160 of you. I'm going to give Mario a couple of seconds to let us know his last thoughts. Mario.
I want my last 30 seconds because I want to remind everyone of the absolutely irrefutable, what's the word for it? Evidently certain Toastmasters moment, word of the week, apodictic reality, and that is China is the largest, safe, stable, successful, capable, and civil country on planet Earth. They don't like that. They don't want you to know that. And they're doing everything possible to brainwash and lie to you to try and make you forget that amazing fact. I know it. Fernando knows it. Between the two of us, how many years in China? Just between you and me?
40,
40, almost a half a
45,
century. 20,
45,
23 years for me. It would be 24 years this October. For
22
you,
for
over
me.
20. Also incredible. We know the reality. We know the truth. We're going to keep doing our best to make sure you do too. See you, folks.
Yes, I just want you guys to keep an open mind and understand that China is attacked for doing things differently. They handle poverty differently, they handle COVID differently, they handle terrorism differently, they handle diplomacy differently, they handle democracy differently. That doesn't make it bad. It's just different. So keep an open mind, try to learn, try to understand, and we'll all be better. All right, guys, that's it for today. Until we see you again, take it easy and bye for now.
God bless everybody.